Well, the White Walkers of winter are on the move as I am tracking several cold shots coming down across the United States the next 10 days, as well as potential for some snow. Will that be impacting your backyard? I'll let you know coming up next. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Weather Nerds YouTube page. I'm meteorologist Greg Majeski, making a difference one subscriber at a time. And if you haven't become a subscriber, you should consider it. We're up to 1,154 subscribers now, and all you got to do to become part of this family is hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. That way you're alerted on future content, and give me a thumbs up or leave a comment down below. I always respond to them. It always helps with trying to grow the channel if we do some interaction. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at what you need to know for this edition. Okay, the first thing we're going to look at for today is we're going to look at the latest on the North Atlantic Oscillation Forecast. That's kind of the position of the jet stream across the country as it drives the weather systems from coast to coast. We're also going to take a look at the latest current climate outlook that's going to take us into the first week in January. And then after that, we're going to track the cold weather. We're going to look at the European model and see where the exact cold shots will be coming down and when you can expect them in your backyard, depending on where you're located in the country. And then we'll finally take a look at the precipitation outlook over the next 10 days and see where we may get some potential winter weather as well during that period. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into that North Atlantic Oscillation Forecast. So this is a pretty nice forecasting tool that I like to use, especially when I'm trying to track when we may see some potential movements of some colder air across the continental United States. So let's go ahead and zoom in here once again, and you can see that we're trending downward. Just a reminder, when we're in a positive phase like we currently are sitting, we're currently sitting right up in here, we're in a positive phase. So here is the zero line running right through there. And you notice the trend is going down into a negative. Now, back at around the 1st of December, we had a nice little cold snap in here, and we were very much in the negative, and most of the country was seeing below normal temperatures, except for the folks out on the West Coast. And so the trend is downward as we go into the first week of January. So what that is telling me is that we can expect some colder temperatures to infiltrate the United States, and that will also allow for the potential for some storm systems to develop as we head into, say, January 7th or 8th. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at the climate outlook, which will cover this same period, and see if what they're forecasting lines up with what the North Atlantic Oscillation is showing for right now. Let's take a look. So we're going to begin by looking at the 6 to 10 day outlook. This is going to take us from December 31st through January 4th as far as the temperatures are concerned. And what we're seeing here initially, as we go ahead and zoom on in here a little bit, you're going to notice that we're seeing below normal temperatures here across the southeast, and pretty much mild out on the west coast, and obviously a little warmer up here in the northern plains. And that's because of lack of snowfall. We haven't really seen that in the late fall and going into winter now, and that's a trend that'll probably continue here. And as we go into days 8 through 14 for comparison, as we're going to go over to January the 2nd through the 8th, doesn't change that much. More of the country is near normal, still looking at below normal temperatures across the southeast, and still mild out in the west, as well as the high plains. Now, where things get interesting is when we go take a look over at the precipitation outlook covering the same period. So we're going to start by taking a look at the period 6 through 10, again, the 31st through January 4th. You're noticing we've got below normal precipitation fall across the northeast, but it's still showing what looks like an active subtropical region. You notice this area in here with above normal precipitation expected through that zone as we go into the early portion of 2024. And that gets even more pronounced as we go into, say, January 2nd through the 8th. And why that is interest to me is when you see above normal precipitation in this zone along with below normal temperatures, that's typically where you look at maybe the potential for some sort of winter event here across the south. And that'll be something I'll be watching very closely as we go through the next 10 days. So let's go ahead and take a look at the European model. We're first going to take a look at the cold weather. We'll look at the cold weather shots coming down, and then we'll take a look at the precipitation outlook. That'll take us into 2024. So let's go take a look. So as we take a look at what we're going to be seeing as far as the cold air is for the next 10 days, I'm using the 850 level. It kind of is a good level to kind of track that cold air without the natural fluctuations of highs and lows as far as where the cold air will be tracking. And we're going to be tracking 3 of them. We've got one in the middle of the country currently and a couple more shots that are going to be coming down as we head through the period. And timestamp, I just added that down below, new feature, so you can track along with us. So let's go ahead and go forward in time as we watch this system. This is the one that's responsible for that blizzard conditions that we had on Christmas Day and on the 26th across areas of South Dakota, Nebraska, parts of Colorado on the 26th. So as we go forward in time, this is going to shift off toward the east very slowly and progress into the areas of the Midwest and the Southeast as we go into Friday morning. So as we get into Friday morning, you're seeing the cold air. This is the first little cold batch here. Not overly cold, but seeing temperatures below normal with this first shot. So as we continue to go forward in time, going into January 1st, we got another cold batch coming down. You see that there back here across areas of the high plains here. This is going to continue to track off toward the south and the east and make things probably a little chilly as we head into New Year's Day for the New Year's revelers in New York City. So by the time we get late in the day, looking pretty cold there across areas of the Midwest and going into New England as we head toward midnight there. Pretty chilly. We've got a nice little cold batch here right through this portion of the country going into New Year's Day. So as we go forward into New Year's Day, this one will kind of settle into the southeast, a little glancing blow there. And then as we go into the 3rd and 4th, we got yet another cold shot coming down. Here's another one going in toward the 4th. As you can see, the cold air centered up in here. So we got several cold air events that are going to be moving through the regions as we head into the 4th. This is late in the day on the 4th of January. Now, what we're going to be watching through this period is how that cold air, if it bounces up and interacts with any of the subtropical energy that is expected on the periphery of this thing. So let's go ahead and we're going to shift over into the precipitation mode, and we're going to take a look at the precipitation through the same period. So here again is the storm system on the 26th, responsible for the snow there. This is a cutoff low. It's going to be a slow mover. It's going to take several days as this thing continues to track off toward the east and southeast. So as I progress forward through the period here, you can see the little bit of snows there across areas of Missouri as we go into the 27th. And this continues to go forward here even into the Tennessee River Valley as we go into the morning of Friday the 29th. So wouldn't shock me to see a little snow showers in with some of this, maybe getting into North Alabama, North Georgia, some flurries. It's not going to amount to anything, but some precipitation there. It's got a little weak low up here across New England, bringing in some snows there. And we've got a approaching storm system here off the west coast on Friday the 29th. So continue to go forward in time as we take a look at this model. Again, that low in the southeast kind of washes on out. Weekends, we're seeing some pretty decent rains on Saturday morning, all up and down the California coastline right through here, from Northern California down to Southern California. We've got a little bit of snows here across areas of New England. As we watch this next cold batch come on down here, little Alberta Clipper type system, that's going to bring some areas of snows across portions of the Great Lakes as we go forward here into New Year's Eve. So this is the 31st that morning, seeing a little snows there across areas of Michigan, and a little bit of snow activity here, but not really amounting to a whole lot there with that colder shot coming down, and that it will continue into portions of New England. Then as we go into the 1st, then we get a little interesting. We're watching things here in the south. We've got a little weak area of disturbance, a low pressure system here. You notice you got the cold air on the edge of this, and we'll be watching closely. This is still about a week or so away, 6 days away. So we're going to watch this closely with this low. It is setting up some winter precipitation just on the fringe of this as it's moving through Mississippi, Alabama, and maybe into North Georgia as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday, going into the 2nd and into the 3rd. So we're going to watch that closely with the additional model data to see if that verifies. But that low moves off the coast with the cold air, and then we got another system coming at yet here on the west coast once again. That'll be tracking to move inland. And again, you're still looking at these cold shots that continue to come on down. So any interaction between the moisture as well as the cold air is something that'll be of high interest for a lot of folks as we go through this winter is it's a pretty vigorous storm system there, 997 low there in Northern California there, coming in as we go into Thursday morning. So it weakens a little bit. You're noticing the snows here across portions of California. You got snows here in the Intermountain as we wait for that energy to come in. Got a little snows here across portions of New England as well. There's another cold shot that's kind of rotating down here across the Great Lakes, setting up some snows there. And we'll take this out to the end of its run. You're seeing the snows continuing throughout the day on Thursday the 4th across New England. And then we'll watch this next storm system come out of the Rockies as we go beyond the 10-day and see what it does when it pulls out into the plains. So let's go ahead and take a final wrap of everything on this episode. So the last thing I want to highlight here is the snow potential here over the next 10 days as we're going to be seeing, this is kind of the leftover snows here from the 26th with the snowstorm in the middle of the country, and this will provide some of the snows here across Missouri and into some areas of the south. Got some snows here across New England. That'll be heading into later into the period, heading into New Year's. And then some needed snows out here on the West Coast, out here across areas of California, the California Sierra Nevada getting some pretty healthy snows there. It's been kind of limited so far with their snowpack out there, so much needed snows there coming your way through the 10-day period. Now, this is a 10-day forecast. It will change a little bit, and we will be tracking it very closely as we go into 2024. All right, that's your last update for the day. You guys take it easy, and if you have not subscribed yet to the channel, please do so. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for alerts on future content, and leave me a comment down below. Tell me what you think. If there's some things you'd like to see or got some comments and some feedback, please leave it down below. I always read them as well. That's a look at your update for now. You guys take it easy. We'll see you on the next edition. Until then, have a great day. Bye-bye.